As Hurricane Ian swept across the south, we saw plenty of pictures like this, right? Cars submerged underwater. It hit all places, all up and down the coastline. A bunch of people have property in Florida or on the coast. Maybe they fled the area but left many of the family cars. In case you haven't checked, Mike Quincy is here with us to show you how to inspect a car that you find on a lot that has had flood damage, but nobody's telling you about it. He's a Consumer Reports car expert. He's also going to be discussing fall maintenance and taking your car-related questions. Here's how you can get him your question. You text us that question, 336-379-5775. You can get your question answered in real time. All right, so Mike, this happens every time there's one of these kinds of storms. The flood happens, the cars are submerged, and then we get them on our used car lots months later.
Right. I mean, flood damaged cars can be totaled by the insurance company, but they're supposed to get a new title or a salvage title. And the states that make it easier on consumers will clearly put words on the title that say branded or rebuilt, but some just have an obscure letter or a number code. So that's really a tough way for consumers to not know that a car has been totally submerged or, again, completely totaled by the insurance company.
All right, so, I mean, the big rule of thumb, especially if you're buying a used car, is that you should have a third-party mechanic check it out. But before you even have a third-party mechanic check it out, there's probably a few things that you can look at in the car to maybe give you an idea that it was a flood-damaged car. So let's talk about smell and the mounting screws and the water line.
Right, and you make a great point. You're actually a better inspector of a used car than you think, because you use your eyes, you use your nose. You can put your hands on the carpet and see if it still feels, moist or moldy or something like that. So yeah, definitely stick your nose in the car anywhere there's fabric to get a good whiff to see if you've got any moldy smell. And to dry out a car that's been submerged, you have to take out the seats. So look at the seat mounting hardware to see if those screws or those nuts have been look brand new or replaced. And if they haven't, they might actually even look rusty. So yeah, rust inside of a car is a really bad sign.
Yeah, rust anywhere inside the car, especially even I've heard people need to look at the where the spare tire is, because a lot of time people don't clean that part.
No, exactly, and that's going to be the lowest place where the dirt and silt and mud and water will go. They'll go to the spare tire well, and it's kind of but the rule of thumb also, as we talked about, if you have a relatively new car, very low miles, and it's surprisingly cheap, Consumer Reports will tell you if it sounds too good to be true, too good to be true, it probably is. So if they're looking to sell this car for not much money, it might be a salvage title car.
All right, there's a couple of other things that you can check as well. We're talking about the panels and under the hood, exposed screws, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, and you made a great point about you get a mechanic to inspect the car, but the mechanic is not going to be able to tell if a lot of the internal electronics have been damaged. You can't always tell that by a visual inspection. These are problems that show up many years later in flooded cars.
Okay. All right. So beware of a flood car. And you said now they're supposed to put it on the title, but they don't always do that. So you can look for other things as well.
Exactly. I mean, it depends on the state. Some states allow very obscure codes to be printed on the title, so the consumer won't know that it's a salvage or a rebuilt title. And that's a really tough spot for people to be in. Listen, the used car market is still really tight. Prices are high, supplies are low. So this is a money-making opportunity for some unscrupulous sellers.
Okay. All right. So we have a couple of questions when it comes to fall weather. Now, this one is from a viewer already. This person says, how long should you let a vehicle heat up in cold weather?
Heat up?
Yeah, like people go and warm their car up right when it's cold. You used to have to do that back in the day.
Right. Okay. Great question. Yes, that was the case in the day when you had a car that had a carburetor in it, and the car did actually have to get warm before it even ran. But these days, with electronic fuel injection, car engines are much better. They warm up faster. Your car is actually much more efficient when you're driving it. You're getting 0 miles per gallon. If you're just sitting in your driveway waiting for the engine to warm up, it'll warm up faster as you drive. So definitely don't warm up the car anymore.
Okay, no need for that. All right, let's go to some fall tune-up for our cars. Why do we need to inspect our battery in the fall? Why is it specifically important?
Because as we're going into the colder months, the battery is taxed a lot more to get your car going when it's cold. Now, what the weird thing is, though, the heat actually, and I know North Carolina gets kind of hot in the summertime, the heat actually degrades the battery more than the cold, but the battery doesn't work as well in the cold. So it's a good idea to do a voltage check to see if your battery is up to snuff. Also, it's also a good reminder, at least twice a year, you should change your windshield wipers. How many times that you don't even think about it? You just get in your car and you drive it, the windshield wipers work perfectly. So check your battery and check your windshield wipers.
Okay, so we're supposed to check the voltage. Is that something like we can just go to when we get our, oil changed and have them check it then, or we just do it ourselves?
You can get a voltage meter at any auto parts store, but a lot of auto parts store will check it for you. And also, if your battery is dying or just about dead, they'll even replace it for you. They'll take it out, they'll put it in the recycling bin. You pay a little fee for that, and put it back in for you. But keep in mind that when you replace your battery, you have to do your radio presets all over again. It might not know the memory seats and all that stuff, so you'll have to spend a couple of minutes readjusting the car to your personal specifications.
Okay, because nobody wants to walk out in the morning and have a dead battery for sure. Okay, so definitely check that within the next week or so. All right, we're going to take a quick break. What we want to do is have you text in your question 336-379-5775, and we'll be right back.